America loves a good conspiracy theory, but none has captured the imagination quite like that time we faked the moon landing. Even though, we didn't. So what gives? Why would otherwise normal, critically thinking adults believe that we faked the most monumental achievement in human history? Let's take a trip to the dark side of the moon and look at all the bananas theories about the moon landing. The $30 billion conspiracy. President Kennedy first implored America to land on the moon in 1962. But by the time Neil Armstrong took his giant leap for mankind, Richard Nixon was president, and the country was neck-deep in a war that looked to have no end. With confidence in the government fading, it's not at all surprising that some people chose to believe that we weren't capable of this monumental feat. Unfortunately, they weren't shy about sharing their ideas. Bill Kaysing, the father of the moon hoax movement, even wrote a book, We Never Went to the Moon, America's $30 billion swindle, helping to formalize what up to that point had been the whispers of kooks and crackpots. There's still one big question, though. Why bother faking the moon landing at all? The space race. At the time, America was competing in a space race against its greatest foe, the Soviet Union, and the US was losing. Russia launched the first successful satellite. Russia launched the first man into space, and Russia first landed a foreign object on the moon. America needed to show that it could do something right, and if that meant committing the greatest lie in the history of humankind, well, who could blame them, right? That's the logic some moon landing deniers often use. But let's think about this. The Soviet Union wouldn't have just rolled over while the United States tried to prank the planet. Exposing America as liars could have been a decisive Cold War victory, so the fact that it never happened should tell us everything we need to know. Flat Earth. Maybe we never landed on the moon because the Earth is flat. Just ask Charles K. Johnson, the former president of the Flat Earth Society, who says, "Nobody knows anything about the true shape of the world. The known inhabited world is flat." Just as a guess, I'd say that the dome of heaven is about 4,000 miles away, and the stars are about as far as San Francisco is from Boston. Okay, then what about literally every picture and video taken from space? According to the Society, NASA lied about it all. Everything. They lied about space. And even worse, they conspired with Walt Disney, Arthur C. Clarke, and Stanley Kubrick to fake the moon landing to prevent the world from knowing the truth about the flat Earth for reasons. Moon Nazis. One group of very dedicated conspiracy nuts have figured out a reason we decided not to actually go to the moon. Nazis. After all, Nazis were pioneers in jet propulsion aircrafts and rocketry, and had begun exploring spacecraft technology. Wernher von Braun, the father of the American rocket ship, was a Nazi scientist, and was a proponent of space travel his entire life. Of course, the moon Nazi theory gets pretty nuts after that. The story goes that Hitler fled to a moon base after World War II, where he oversaw a growing Nazi army. According to this theory, the UFO phenomena that occurred in the 1950s was actually the result of Nazi technology and not alien visitors. When you think about the fact that we haven't been fighting armies of moon Nazis since the 60s, the whole "we faked the moon landing" thing starts to make a little more sense, right? No? Yeah, no. Alien base. You can't have a moon conspiracy without bringing up aliens. So, are they on the moon, and have they kept us from landing on it? According to some conspiracy theories, the Apollo missions never left the Earth's orbit, and part of the cover-up involved erasing all signs of UFOs from official photographs. David Icke, an online conspiracy theorist, has an even bigger claim. The moon itself is a giant, hollow alien base. Yeah, let's just move on. Moon hologram. There's a theory out there that the moon is just a big old hologram. Hey, it's not like we don't have the technology.
It's so simple. Place the Star Shower laser light anywhere in your yard, and your house will be transformed from dark to dazzling.
There are actually a bunch of theories about how the moon itself could be fake, all of them pretty crazy. It could be a hologram projected from various government installations throughout the world. It could be a large, crudely painted balloon held in place by helium and propelled by tiny sails and rudders. Or, most likely, it could have been different things at different times and different places depending on the technology available to the conspirators. So, why fake a moon landing when there isn't even a moon? Well, it may have been a ploy to bankrupt the Soviet Union by pressuring them to take part in the supposed space race. But that's still ignoring the biggest question of all. Why would anyone want to pretend there's a moon if there really isn't? Seems like you could save a lot of time and effort by just not making up a moon. Debunking a myth. In the end, how does anyone really know we didn't fake the moon landing? Basically, it would be very, very hard. Like harder than actually going to the moon. According to Oxford University physicist Dr. David Grimes, who worked out an equation to figure out how unlikely a conspiracy was to remain quiet, the more people involved in a cover-up, the quicker it will be revealed. To fake the moon landings, you'd need a whole boatload of people. By his calculations, faking the moon landings would have required the knowledge of 400,000 people and would have been revealed within 4 years. Thankfully, math isn't the only way to prove the doubters wrong. There's also science. A German Lunar X Prize is sending 2 mobile probes to the lunar surface to inspect the rover left behind by the Apollo 17 mission. Or is that all a hoax too? Maybe we'll never really know. Thanks for watching. Click the grunge icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.